Hi, I'm Megan Kuhn with Powerhouse Real Estate, and today I want to talk to you about a really important topic, and that is getting locked into an agency agreement with a real estate agent. Now, I want you to consider it's so important to use a real estate agent when you're buying or selling a home, and I hope that you see the value in that and that on your next move you do plan to use a real estate agent. But something that you should know is that our agency agreements are legally binding. So when you sign an agreement with a real estate agent, you are essentially creating that relationship and locking yourself in to work with that agent and that agent exclusively. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that you need to look for and preparing yourself for that, why it's important to sign the agreement, and then also kind of the litigation of getting out of a contract if that were to happen to you. A couple of reasons why we get these agency agreements signed as realtors are, number one, we're legally responsible to. We have to create an agency relationship with you as our client before we can legally represent you and do work for you. So you should expect that any real estate agent that you hire is going to require you to sign an agency agreement, which is totally common, and you shouldn't be afraid of this, but you should just be aware and make sure that you sign with the right agent the first time. Another reason why we are going to require you to sign one is we don't get paid until closing, and we have to make sure that you understand that we're agreeing to legally work together, that exclusively we are going to be your agent and you are going to be our client. We are going to bind ourselves through those responsibilities that come with that, and you are going to work with us and not go call other agents to see houses while we're trying to represent you. So when you sign these agreements, what exactly are you agreeing to? On the buyer side, you are agreeing to work with us exclusively. You're agreeing to pay us a commission. Now, this is a tricky one because in the state of Utah right now, the seller typically pays the buyer's commission. So in most cases, you won't end up paying us. However, it is noted on the agency agreement that we will get paid for the contract. So if for some reason you find a home that the seller is not willing to pay the commission for your agent, then you will be responsible to pay that commission at closing. Our duties to you as your real estate agent are loyalty, confidentiality, that will act in your best interest, honesty, and obedience. So these are things that are going to be huge during the transaction that we're promising to do for you as your fiduciary agent. So keep that in mind. These are the things that you're signing for. You are also signing that we are not a professional in anything other than real estate. So we can't give you tax advice. We can't give you any advice for the condition of the home, like plumbing, electrical, anything like that. We are simply a real estate agent. We're professionals in the paperwork and the transaction, but we do not act in any other professional position. And then the last thing that it covers is that the way that we will handle disputes, should disputes arise between you and your real estate agent. So if for some reason you get into a dispute with your agent and you'd like to be released from the contract, we're agreeing that we will go through mediation before it gets taken to the legal courts. And so all of that information is in the agreement, and you're signing and binding yourself to that. You can't be in agreements with two different agents, so choose your agent wisely from the beginning. Now, on the seller side, the agreement is much the same. It's putting us into a fiduciary position with those same duties. You are agreeing to pay the seller's agent, your agent, as well as the buyer's agent, and that is broken down in the agreement how much you'll be paying each agent in the transaction. You are also giving us permission to market your property for sale online and in written form. So we are allowed to hand out flyers. We're allowed to post a sign in your yard, all of those things. You're giving us permission to do that legally because we are going to be showing pictures of your home. And so we need written permission and consent for that. As well as we do not take any liability for your personal property. So while the home is being shown, while we're hosting open houses, if anything were to be broken or taken, we are not responsible for that as agents. I would recommend, if you are listing your home, to put away anything that's valuable. Don't leave things laying around that could easily be grabbed, as well as anything that's very important to you, like memorabilia, anything that you keep that's like inherited, things like that could be broken. Please put them away so that we don't even have to worry about that. We don't tend to have very many issues with this, but I hate to say never because you just never know. So as you sign these agreements, you want to make sure that you're entering into them with an agent that you trust from the beginning. So this is your responsibility as the client to make sure that you do your due diligence before you sign with an agent, to make sure that number one, this agent is going to do a great job for you and meet all of your expectations. Number two, that the agent is going to be able to provide what you need. If your schedule isn't going to line up with that agent's schedule to show houses, obviously it's not going to work. So make sure that you sort all of these things out ahead of time and set the expectations so that you don't enter into an agreement and then have disputes along the way or frustrations on your end because you're locked in with somebody that isn't performing the way that you would like us to perform. And lastly, I want to talk about getting out of these contracts. Now, you can always ask your agent to be released from a contract. If you're unhappy and it's not meeting your expectations or things are different than what you originally signed up for, you can always ask the agent to be released. Now, something you should know is when you sign with an agent, you're also signing with their full brokerage. And so the broker is actually the one who has to release you from the contract. It's not that specific agent. So the broker would have to sign off on that. In some cases, they could take an amount of money to walk away. So maybe they ask you to pay back for pictures, for time, for open houses, for flyers, anything that they may have paid for and their time. They may ask you to compensate them for that before they walk away. They could just walk away with a clean slate and apologize that things didn't go how you would like. Or they could hold you to the contract and they could require you to keep the listing with them or to continue to work with them as a buyer's agent. It's a messy situation, but you should know that it is a legal document that can be held up in court. So if you sign that agreement, you're agreeing to it as much as the agent. And so don't take it lightly and make sure that you're signing something confidently and going in knowing what you're getting into. My name is Megan Kuhn. If you have any questions about this, comment below.